Well, it's the last week of 2023, and hopefully it's been as adventurous for you as was required for this particular annual dance. Annual dance. Each one of us, oh, by the way, before we get too carried away, happy birthday to all the Capricorns out there and to the special few. And you know who you are, whose birthdays fall into this sign that have been on my wavelength. Welcome to this last week of 2023 as we get ready to step across that imaginary line between, this year, this day, this hour, and the next year, day, or hour. I brought up a little lunar vision for today's consideration because this week also has that full moon transpiring in the sign of Capricorn. So there are lunar energies that they're awakening. The moon might not necessarily be considered in its happy place in the sign of Capricorn because of the fact that the moon rules Cancer, the opposite sign. But yesterday, the 24th, which is actually today when I'm recording this, the moon does its every other week going out of bounds. And so it's out of bounds right now. And what kind of energy might that add into the lunar dance? Considering it's going to be out of bounds for this full moon, there are some other factors that I'm going to throw in there, but I'm going to hold them in abeyance for the moment. Let's bring up a chart. See what the heck we can take a gander at here. There they are, planets up high in the chart. The sun, it's going to that third degree of, actually on Christmas Day, it'll be going to the third degree of Capricorn. Mercury, still doing its retrograde dance, has gone back into Sagittarius, and Mars, out of bounds until like the 23rd of January, is racing toward Mercury, which is racing backwards towards it. What could this mean? This is something that is definitely on the wavelengths for this week's considerations. But before we jump through that particular hoop, today, Venus, winding up its last few days in Scorpio, comes into a trine with Neptune down here, finally going forward in the sign of Pisces. See, they're both at 24 degrees here, and it's a trine, that nice blue triangle line. It means they're in signs that speak to each other. They're both water signs, and Scorpio's capacity to feel, all water signs have this, has an intimate and an intense kind of vibration to it that really, really wants to, not hold back from what is available within our feeling realms one with another. What kind of a energy can be stirred up when we get together in any particular moment? The Pisces side and Neptune really takes that scorpionic version of, really sensing into each other's space and brings it into the realm of, how much, how willing are you to allow your creative imagination, your dream space, to awaken to possibilities. Neptune says, Pisces says, don't hold back. I'm giving you the energy. And this Venus trine Neptune right now is saying, Venus, how is the relationship part of your life doing? Is your artistic side being inspired by that dream cycle that you are tapping into? Not only each night, but dream cycles can show up at any moment. And they're working. Their harmonic is really strong right now. That trine is saying, this is a conversation that Venus and Neptune are having from those two water signs, saying, pay attention. There is something afoot that if you, really tune into it, there's some magic available. Utilize it. Okay, Tuesday. Well, actually Monday, yesterday, that was a Christmas Day gift for everybody, that Venus-Neptune trine. Tuesday comes along. What do we have going on Tuesday? Oh yeah, something called the full moon. Right down here, you can kind of see it's just gone into Cancer. And the full moon will be at 4 degrees of Cancer because, that will be when it opposes the sun. And the moon, in the sign that it rules, you can feel this particular full moon, see it right up there behind me. This particular full moon it could be asking us to pay attention. How tuned in am I to the feeling realm? We're at Christmas time. Do you know who, where, or what your family energy might be right now? This full moon is asking us to really ponder that. And because it's so friggin' close to Christmas, we've just been inspired, tickled, if you will, by the energies of those on our family wavelength. They're close. This full moon is saying, don't allow that to go by without some kind of acknowledgement. The Sabian symbol for this particular full moon on Tuesday, which by the way is a Mars day. And remember, Mars is out of bounds, so expect the unexpected. The Sabian symbol reads, at a railroad crossing, an automobile is wrecked by a train. Oh my God, what an image to have to paint. Keywords, keynote. The tragic results, which are likely to occur when the individual's will pits itself carelessly against the power of the collective will of society. That's a heck of an image to carry into this full moon, the day after Christmas. Is it potentially conceivable that it's now the day after Christmas, the experience, if you will, of what was shared one with another presents us with opportunity to, how are you going to play that? Are we going to be overtly thankful just for the opportunity of shared space one with another? Or is the get factor, playing its card, the Joker card, if you will, and saying, I didn't get what I want. Something to ponder there is in that consideration. And on this full moon, the energies, they get kicked up. Our feelings, they could run rampant if we were to allow them to. Are you all present? Present. Yes, there's a good Christmassy kind of thought. Let's go on to the next day. Let's see, what do we have here? Oh, just out of curiosity. Oops, wrong button. Our transits, the moon, you can kind of see, it's beyond that 23, 26 degrees, out of bounds. Our sun, 23, 21, it made it up to that bending line where it was like almost out of bounds, which is what it does at that longest day of the year. And Mars, 23, 46, it's out of bounds. Yes, absolutely. I think of, from the perspective of planetary consciousness or conversation, if you will, looking at, the celestial dance, if you will. Here it is. Last week, we had the winter solstice, when the sun is as far away from its northern perspective, actually from the whole planetary perspective, from the sun as it gets. There's two times, the solstices, winter and summer solstices, when the sun is out there, a long ways away from the sun. And the planets are kind of going, yeah, it's just part of the dance. You want to make a big deal out of it? Go ahead. I think the more vital aspect of it is to recognize the advent of our Capricornian side. And we all have a Capricornian side. It's a makeup that each one of us carries, some wearing it blatantly upon their sleeves, seeking always positions of authority in this adventure or that event or process. Others, that Capricorn side may be just a little bit more subdued. It's kind of like, yeah, I understand the parameters of leadership and the appropriateness of what it means to have integrity in everything that I do. With any luck, both sides of that equation should tune into that integral integrity side. Not always the case in our human incarnational dance. Yet, it's an opportunity that it's there saying, if you will, but should knock on this door, the integrity door. It will open wide to you. Are you ready? Do you want to take that kind of responsibility? It is a responsibility that you can decide to participate in or not. But there are cost factors that come into play if you should decide to ignore that side of potential. Anyway, Wednesday. On this day, we're still on Tuesday. On this day, Wednesday, here's Mercury going retrograde at 24 degrees, right? Sagittarius. Here's Mars going forward out of bounds at 24 degrees Sagittarius. Let's take those two energies, put them into the, what should we say? You know how when you go to the casino and they put the dice into that, whatever they call it, the thing where you rattle around and throw it out. there's that Mars energy saying, take chances, in Sagittarius. What else is there? There's Mercury saying, gosh, I don't know if what I say is going to be, seen for what it is that I'm trying to convey. It's not coming out as clearly right now. This is a day, Wednesday, a mercurial day, by the way, when I get images. The planets send me images when I'm looking at these things. I see that out of bounds Mars, just it's a driven energy, and the Mercury retrograde saying, oh, I really feel like, I want to say something. And, I'm picturing a tongue with hobnail boots stepping on it. That's Mars standing on what it is that you say, so that, it may kind of regardable and not really able to understand. There's a possibility. I'm just throwing that out there for you. This will be one of those days, mercurial as it is, when, making sure that you have enough humble pie on hand so that what it is that you say or offer can be, retracted effectively if it doesn't work like you had anticipated. And the likelihood of that being the case, it's up. I think that's kind of a, that kind of energy in Sagittarius is like, I want to say more. Mars is saying, do more. And Mercury retrograde is saying, oh, but. Oh, but. Yeah. How many oh, buts are we going to come across this Wednesday? Things to meditate upon. These, by the way, are both in square to Neptune down here in Pisces, which we talked a little bit about with the Venus factor. These are Jupiter signs, both of them, Pisces and Sagittarius. Jupiter, by the way, it steps up to the plate this week as well. It's down here, almost so friggin' close to being stationary, turning around and going direct again, which, when a planet reaches that point where it's not really going backward anymore, it's not really going forward anymore, the energy is amped up and standing in a position. Therefore, what it is that I am radiating, it's, it is kicked up a notch, maybe several notches. Jupiter, what kind of energy does Jupiter represent? More. There's a Jupiterian thought. I don't want to hold back. Another Jupiterian thought. What else is there? Jupiter on the loose. It's in Taurus. How tuned in are you to what it is that ownership might mean to you? It's being brought into that consideration with this square between, am I willing to, from a Neptunian perspective, own my dreams? Or from a Sagittarian perspective, own the perspective of what more is possible if I were to, from the Mars out of bound perspective, go for it. That's the key. Mars out of bounds. Woohoo. Yeah. Super energy. And at the same time, the sun being in trine with Jupiter down here brings in, what should we call it? Solar vitality. What kind of vital energies is Jupiter and the sun attempting right now? Something more? Mercury's still retrograde, but not by much. In Taurus, what can this Capricornian solar dance enhance with the Jupiter backing in the realm of what else might I be able to bring into what I have control over, what it is that I have ownership over, what it is that is mine. Some things to think about, folks, as we bring this year to its final culmination. You will notice here, this is Thursday, Venus, you know, it's in those last couple degrees of Sagittarius. And when we get to Friday, boom, we're 14 minutes away from Sagittarius. Well, on Friday, Venus shifts from, this is, by the way, 29th, into Sagittarius. Venus, you could say, okay, how is this is Venus shifting into Sagittarius out of the Capricorn, out of the Scorpio dance, saying, who says there should be arbitrary limits on what it is that relationship should be? Or equally, the Venus moving into Sagittarius could say, how willing am I to allow my artistic vision to seek something beyond what it is that I've always kept myself contained within? Those two variables, both in play, art of living, coming out of the art of dying, as I talked about last week. That shift from Scorpio to Sagittarius can quite easily be seen as, I've made it through the hell realms, and I've just reached a point where rebirth is taking place. Sagittarius, what options are opened up to me now that I didn't see before, beckoning my participation at a level that really doesn't conform to containment? That's a powerful energy. And if we just go to Saturday, which is the 30th, you can see Venus is already up to 1 degree of Sagittarius. The dance is on, folks. How eruptive. Mars is still out of bounds in Sagittarius. Are you willing to allow your artistic expression to go to? There's an energy there. It's available if you want to use it. Just be aware, we're still in Mercury retrograde cycle. People may not understand it easily, which doesn't necessarily mean to hold yourself back. Because if you feel it, it's time to go for it. There is a potential there that's, percolating within you, saying, pay attention. There's an energy that's trying to awaken something vibrant and new within you. Don't hold back. And on this very same day, Saturday, you can kind of see there's that red S down there in Jupiter. I am no longer going backwards anymore, folks. I, here on the 30th of December, am ready to strike out and begin my forward motion again as we get ready to, in Jupiter fashion, leap into 2024. No holding back, no holds barred. Jupiter is on the loose. It wants to, make up for lost time. And there will be very interesting considerations that Jupiter is going to go through in the 2024 dance. We'll get to that when we get to that. If we just go ahead, well, this is the 30th. We've got one more day of the year. Let's take a look at, this is New Year's Eve. And we have a lot of Sagittarian kind of energy. Even, yeah, we're in Capricorn, but a lot of Sagittarian energy that's still in the flow. Mercury, Venus, is stirring the pot as far as New Year's Eve goes, saying, who made up these crazy rules that said that I can only be in relationship with one or two people? Relationship is a process that, it's like the tides. It ebbs and it flows. There are things that get caught in the tide and they bring them to your shore. Are you going to ignore it because somebody has set a rule, says, I cannot be in a relationship with you right now because I have this other relationship. Open up the waves of the channels of life. There are so many variables to play with in the field of relationship. It isn't all, from the perspective of Disney. There's only one kind of relationship. The prince meets the princess. Oh, come on. The variety of, from the Sagittarian perspective is that there's always more. You could also say Venus and Sagittarius, what a great time to have a relationship with somebody from a foreign culture. We'll throw that in the mix as well. Are you held back by perspectives that you have that say, no, I can't mix with that kind of cultural person? Instead of, it's a person. That kind. Those words are irrelevant. It's another person. They have a perspective that if you are willing, you might share with one another that you both might grow from. So Happy New Year. And by all means, thank you for 2023. And stay tuned for the adventure of what 2024 has in store for each one of us. And with any luck, we will cross paths one with another in that 2024 adventure to compare notes. Once, twice, who knows how many times. The importance is that we do get together. We do compare notes and discover things about ourselves that would not have happened any other way. So, my friends, signing off for 2023. I'll see you all in 2024. That's it for now. Ciao.